All right, we are going to wrap up our post-race media availabilities for today's AAA Texas 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. We are joined by members of our race-winning team, which is the number 4 Mobile One Ford. We have the driver, Kevin Harvick, and the crew chief, Rodney Childers. We will open up to questions for our race winners, and we're going to start up in the press box.
I have a question for Kevin. First of all, congratulations, Wolfgang Monza, Rennsport Press Agency from Germany. You dominated the majority of the race, and it looked relatively, for me, sorry to use this word, relatively easy, how you were chasing through the field like a hot knife through butter. Nevertheless, was there a scary moment when shortly before the end of the race, the last caution came out, and you were a little bit under panic, maybe to lose the race?
Well, I mean, you never want to lose those types of days. Obviously Blaney had a good restart, and we were able to get back by him. And at that particular point, I was like, we're not taking the bottom anymore. We're going to take the top and see what happens. And obviously, it worked out a little bit better. Having the offense there of being on the outside and the side draft. After you get past the start-finish line, and it's nice to see the second groove was rubbered up as much as it was, and so it's wound up making the pass on the top there. So for whatever reason, we've run well on the old style racetrack and the new style racetrack since I've been at Stewart-Haas Racing. But for whatever reason, since they've repaved the place, I mean, it's just been lights out for us. I feel like we could have won every race here with the new pavement. So it's been interesting to see how it's changed and how much it's kind of come around to the things that we do with our cars, and today was one of those days that just was there with the speed, but everybody executed well, whether it was on pit road or the pit box, or late there with the restarts, and made it happen. So it's a good time of year to have all that come around.
We're going to come over here to the left to Mark, and then we'll go to Bob.
I'm just looking for
Mark. Well, now we really got it. Mark Garrow, PRN. Question for both of you. Same question. You guys have been great all year long. Speed at just about every type of racetrack. How does it feel for both of you to make it pay off with a spot at Homestead and a chance to win the championship?
Well, I mean, really, that's what you race for. To try to get yourself in position to get into the playoffs, and then position yourself to have a chance to get to Homestead. So it's not easy, this time of year, just because of the fact that there's everybody's throwing everything that they have at it, and all the notes and all the things that you've done all year are compiled into the cars that you have on the racetrack, and it's tough to win races at this point in the year, and so to get to victory lane, and that's our goal. I mean, that's how you control your destiny the most, is to get to victory lane instead of counting your fingers and toes. Trying to figure out what you need to do. It's guaranteed if you go to victory lane and you're still in it. So these guys have been in these types of positions before when we haven't had points and put themselves in scenario. We've put ourselves in scenarios to where we've had our backs against the wall and had to prepare at a high level, and that's really what we've done all year. And so when you do that day after day after day, and that preparation takes another step, it's a pretty refined step of details that goes along with it. So it's fun to see a whole day come together. We've had a lot of really fast cars in the playoffs here. It's just the days haven't come together, and sometimes you go through phases like that, and luckily we've scored a lot of stage points and kept ourselves in the game, and that's what you got to do. Just hang around, survive and advance.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he covered most of it there. I mean, it's just nice to see the hard work pay off. You see everybody working so hard at the shop and the engine shop, and I feel like all year long there's been those goals there of winning races and making it to Homestead, and it's just nice to see that execution of all the hard work paying off, not only for the 4 team, but to see the other 3 cars up there running good too. That says a lot about our company and everything we have going on.
We'll go to Bob and then up to the press box.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Kevin, if you were not able to catch Ryan after he passed you
There's
on that.
no ifs, Bob.
Well,
Facts are facts.
well, the facts are is that was damn hard to pass. It looked like out there. And so my question is, were you concerned that as hard as it was to pass, that you wouldn't catch him, and this race just turned into a total track position race? And what does that say?
I look at the facts, and we were able to work our way through the field today, and a lot of tire strategy and a lot of things happened today that turned into a track position style race. But in the end, 4 tires were faster than 2 tires. It took a little bit to pass. Our money spot was in the middle of 1 and 2, and he hit the apron down there, and we didn't. And we were able to get by based upon practice. His car was really fast for the first 5 laps, and he could make really good lap time. And then it was just about keeping the pressure on him to try to keep him from hitting his marks, and he wound up missing his marks. And luckily that was a lap that I hit mine. So it's repaves are difficult. I think they've put in as much effort here as anywhere that we've gone, and 2 years in a row we've won a race on the high side. So, it's just one of those things where you just have to give it time, and it's a really fast racetrack that they came and changed the tires from the first race, so we kind of fixed that problem. From the tires blowing out and everything that we had happen in the spring race. So, it's just a scenario where you have to deal with the circumstances that you're dealt. And today we had a fast car, and our car turned well all weekend, and we were able to make passes. And I feel like we've been able to do that really in all 3 repave races here. I feel like we could have won every one of them. We didn't win the spring race here, and we made a lot of mistakes on that particular day, and today we didn't.
We're going to go to Jim in the press box, and then Jessica and Jerry.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Kevin, you mentioned after the race about 5 years of winning cars at Stewart-Haas Racing. Along those lines, this will be the 4th time in 5 seasons that you'll have the opportunity to compete for the championship. When you made the change to join the organization, could you have ever envisioned having this sort of opportunity? And what does it say for the organization that you've been able to have that opportunity just virtually every year you've been there?
Well, here's my reality check. Jimmy Johnson hasn't won a race this year, and isn't king of the mountain. So, when that type of stuff happens, and you see scenarios like that, you have to be real with yourself to say, these are scenarios that you better enjoy, because they probably won't last forever. And right now, we've been fortunate to have been in this position for the last 5 years, and we've capitalized on a lot of race wins, a championship, and put ourselves in position to win a few other championships, and it just didn't all work out. So, you need to capitalize on every moment, on every fast car, on every chance you have to win a championship, because at some point there's going to be some tougher times in there. And I think for our organization, it's rather unique, because since I started, we've been through a few drivers, we've been through a few crew chiefs on the other cars, and I think our team has been kind of that rock that sets the foundation at Stewart-Haas Racing, and I think as you've seen the change to Ford, which everybody thought we were crazy, I think the bottom line is we've got more resources and more things that we can keep within our own walls, and I don't believe we've reached the potential of where we can be. But I think you see the progress of things that have happened when you see how all 4 cars are running, and that's not easy to do, and that says a lot about the company, a lot about the people that put these cars together on a week-to-week basis, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of detail and a lot of people and a lot of money, to do that, and they're doing it with multiple teams, as you see those 4 teams, in the final 8 here. So. That to me is pretty telling as to where we are as a company, and hopefully we can keep progressing forward, and keep all the things that we're doing within our own walls, and not have to share it with anybody else.
Before we continue, I just want to check, does anybody have another question for Rodney before we go back to Kevin? We'll go here to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Rodney, beginning of the race, the 48 had to go to the rear because NASCAR stated it had incorrectly informed the team of that because NASCAR made the incorrection that the 48 had failed 3 times inspection. Instead, they'd only failed twice. And what I wanted to ask you is, Chad kind of talked about, he said it's become more and more difficult to have kind of a lines of communication with the tower when, as a team, you have a question or dispute of an infraction. You've been in this long enough. How have you seen that progress, and is there a way to have a better lines of communication to where there's a question, a dispute, that something can be resolved in a quick fashion potentially?
Yeah, I don't know what happened or their situation. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like things are really good right now, and the communication that we have with all those people seems to be pretty open, and I don't know really how that could have happened. Like I said, I don't know the situation or anything like that, and I would hate to speak about it, but overall, I think the communication is really good right now.
We'll go to Jessica.
Jessica Ruppin of NASCAR.com. For both of you guys, we saw a lot of playoff drivers and teams just having all kinds of mistakes and loose wheels and things like that plaguing them throughout the night. Some of the wheels turned out to be actual loose wheels, and some of them just turned out to be some sort of vibration or something else going on. Why do you think we saw so much of that today, and how difficult is it to tell an actual loose wheel apart from just something else?
Yeah, that's difficult because, a lot of times in this weekend, especially the, one set to the next, the tires, one set of tires would run perfectly fine and smooth. The next set you'd put on and they would vibrate like crazy. And we experienced that all weekend. So, we experienced that at Talladega. To me, that's a Goodyear problem. It's not something that every team just magically has loose wheels and has things go wrong. So, it's definitely, there's some issues that come with the tires, in my opinion.
We're going to go to Jeff to wrap it up with Rodney so we can get him back to the car.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Rodney, at this point, I just don't. Who's going to beat you guys aside from yourselves? It's like there was the big 3 for so long, and technically they're still there, but you guys are speed-wise ahead of the Toyotas at this point. Is it? Do you view it as like you guys, if you go out and execute at Homestead, you're going to take it?
Yeah, Homestead is a little bit different of a racetrack. The setups that you run at Homestead aren't like coming here to Texas or Kansas. You can't just apply the same thing that you run over and over and over all year. So, there's changes there that sometimes some guys hit on it and sometimes they don't. I feel like, as a team, we've been really strong down there. I felt like last year going into Homestead, we didn't have the cars to run for a championship, and we almost ran with them. So, overall, I think we have good cars right now. Everybody's done a great job, and it's just going to come down to executing and, doing the best we can on pit road. And I think, Kevin hit that on the head. It's like those guys did a great job today. That's something that we've had a lot of adversity through with some things, and those guys have worked really, really hard to get better, and it was nice to see that today.
All right, Rodney, congratulations. Thanks for joining us. Good luck in Miami.
Thank you.
We'll get back to questions for Kevin. We're going to go up here to Jerry Fraley, then to Janine, and then Jerry Jordan.